Welcome to today's Tenepy live sharing. Hello, Ariel. Welcome back. All right, and I see Hongjie. Hello, Hongjie. All right, we will begin shortly. All right, let me go through the basic introductions as we wait for more friends to join us. Okay. All right. So as you know, the Tenepy live sharing session is a short 15 to 20 minutes sharing session where you will learn some tips and tricks about writing better. All right, so this session is designed for lower primary 3 and 4 about writing composition. All right, if you're new here, welcome. All right. Okay, so in this classroom, welcome to the live sharing classroom. In this classroom, you can communicate with me, Teacher Hetty. All right, I didn't change my name today, but I am Teacher Hetty. All right, you can communicate with me through the chat box. All right, so if you type anything in the chat box, I will be able to see it. For example, Ariel reading me, I will be able to see that. Hello, Ariel. All right, hello, Hongjie. Okay, and if there are cases where you need to use the microphone for a quicker answer, for asking questions more easily, you may do so using the microphone. If you need to use the microphone, please type AM for answers or QM for questions in the chat before raising your hand. All right, so I know what to expect before I unmute you. All right, you will stay muted most of the time. So if you're eating, if your family's watching TV behind you, don't worry, you will not affect anyone else in this classroom. All right. Okay, so it's now about time we start. All right. 6:31. All right, about time we start. Okay, so we're at lesson 4. We're at lesson 4 right now. All right, not lesson 3, but lesson 4. And today we're going to talk about it's because. We're going to talk more about motives. All right, with examples and ways to describe motives better. All right, so we learned last week that we need to provide motives. We need to provide motives to explain the characters' actions in your story because that is crucial to writing a clear and relatable story. All right, so for your readers to be able to understand your story and your characters, you have to do that. You have to give your characters a motive. All right, so hello, Muting. All right, hello, Evangeline. You're just on time. Just finished introduction. We're recapping the homework questions. Okay, so it's technically not homework, but a little discussion question for you. Hello, Sarah. All right, so motive. All right, so your homework for last week was to find a motive to explain the following actions. All right, the first action you were given was Lisa started to run as fast as she could. All right, Lisa started to run as fast as she could. Okay, there could be many motives behind this action. For example, she could be running in a race. All right, once the gun sounds, all right, ready, start, go, and she starts running as fast as she could. That could be one reason. All right, a more common reason in our usual stories would be that there is a chase happening. All right, there's a chase happening. So it's either that she is chasing after someone or something, or someone or something is chasing after her. These are the two common situations where she would start running really fast, right? Okay, if there's something chasing you, or if you want to chase something ahead, you would run really fast. All right. Okay, so let's look at an example. This example is provided by our friend Ariel. All right. Ariel said Lisa and her friends decided to play a game of catch. Afraid of being caught, Lisa ran as fast as she could. All right, this is a very good example. I have shortened it. All right, I've shortened it and cleaned it up a bit. But this is your idea, Ariel. Very good idea. They're playing catch and she does not want to be caught. So she ran as fast as she could. Perfect answer. All right. Any other reasons, motives would be acceptable given that it's logical. All right. Please do not have aliens chase after her, or please don't let her chase after Superman because these things aren't really real. All right. Your second question, your second prompt was Jackson and John high-fived each other. All right. High five. High five, right? Okay, so high fives, this one is a little more limited than the previous one. All right, high five is action that's reserved for certain situations, okay, under certain scenarios. And usually it's because they're celebrating something, all right, something good happened between the two of them, all right, both of them are feeling the excitement, feeling the good thing, they're celebrating, and they high five each other, right? Okay, So similarly, we have an example, this time provided by our friend Evangeline. All right. Jackson and John gracefully high-fived each other when both of them got the award for sportsmanship. All right, very good. All right, so you might not both be able to get the first place, but both of you guys could be awarded for sportsmanship, and that's something you should celebrate. That's a good thing. All right, so yes, we did it. High five. Very good job, Evangeline. Perfect explanation. All right, a good motive. Okay, a good reason for them to high five each other. All right. Okay, so those are the homework questions. We have another question for this week. All right, so if you have not joined our Telegram group, please do so. I will show the QR code at the end of class. Okay, so today we're going to talk a little about different types of motives. All right, so remember we had two in-class examples from last week. The first one was Jane decided to study so she would get a good grade and be rewarded. All right. So that's the first action and reason. All right. Action is studying. The reason for Jane to study is that she would get a good grade and be rewarded. All right. We have another second example versus James punched Steve in the face because he was furious at him for being rude. All right. James punched Steve in the face because James was furious at Steve for being rude. Okay. Action is punching Steve in the face. Reason is that he is furious at Steve being rude. Okay, so you might have noticed that there's a slight difference here, right? In the example of Jane, there's only one character, all right? Nothing prompted her, no one was there to tell her, Jane, you should study, or else you will not get a good grade, or you will not get rewarded. All right, so it's more or less just about Jane. Whereas in the second example, Steve and his actions is the reason why James is furious. And that furiousness drove James to take the action. All right, so here's the difference between these two sets of actions and motives. All right, in the first case for Jane, she wants to do something for herself, right? She wants to study. She wants to get a good grade for herself, and she wants to get rewarded for herself. It's all about her. Whereas in the second scenario, James, he is doing something in reaction to someone else's actions. All right, his action of punching Steve is a reaction of Steve being rude. Does that make sense so far? All right, Evagenine's having a composition test tomorrow. Good luck on the test, Evangeline. All right, but anyways, does these differences make sense? Do you see the difference between Jane wanted to do something for herself, and James was reacting to something Steve did? All right, so we hereby classify these two motives. All right, first one being active. Jane actively wants to do something for herself. And the second one, can you guess the tag? Can you guess the tag? Active and reactive. Very good. James is reacting. All right, so it's a reactive motive. All right, he decided to do this because someone else did something to him. All right, so active and reactive. These are two common ways we classify motives. We classify reasons of why our characters act. All right, does it make sense? Do you know the difference? Are you clear with the difference between active and reactive? If yes, please type yes in the chat so we can move on to the next exercise. Yes or no? Does that make sense? Hello? All right, perfect. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Ariel. All right, so let's try to determine which type of motive these following things are. All right, following examples. First one, Lisa took piano classes because her mother signed her up for the classes. Is that active or reactive? In the chat, A for active, R for reactive, or you can type the whole word. Very good, Ariel. Everyone else? Active or reactive? Okay, Hongjie, very good try. All right. Okay, Lisa took piano classes. That's the action. What's the reason for this action? Her mother signed her up for the class. All right, how many characters do we have here? 2, right? Do both characters have an action here? Yes. Lisa is taking classes. Her mother signed Lisa up for the classes. All right, so Lisa taking classes is the result of her mother signing her up for classes. All right, so therefore, this action would be active or reactive? Reactive. Perfect. Reactive, because the action of Lisa's mother signing her up for the class comes first. All right, and it's only after that she was signed up for the class, then she went to the class. All right, does that make sense? What about this one? William took a poetry class because he was interested in the topic. Active or reactive? The action is William took a poetry class. The reason is he was interested in the topic. Active motion, reactive motion. Very good, Sarah. Anyone else? All right, active or reactive? Very good, Ariel. Is there a second character in this story? Very good, very good. All right, very good, Evangeline. Active motion, active motive, active motion. Very good. This is an active motion because there's not a second character in the story. William took a poetry class because William is interested in the topic. It's all about William. All right, so it's an active motive. What about the final one? Jack decided to visit his friend because there was nothing else for him to do. Active or reactive? Think. This one's a little tricky. All right. Very good, Evangeline. Everyone else? Try again, Sarah. Try again, Hongjie. All right. Okay, this one's a little tricky. Yes, Hongjie, you're correct. Ariel, you are correct. Yes, thank you, Sarah. All right, so Jack decided to visit his friend because there was nothing else for him to do. This him still refers to Jack, all right, because there was nothing else for Jack to do. Okay, so there's nothing else for him to do, so he chose to visit his friend. Although there is a second character, his friend, all right, in the sentence, this friend doesn't really have an action, didn't really perform any action in the story. All right, the friend is simply there. You can replace the friend with visit the zoo or visit, the park. It works the same way. The decision of visiting is still made by Jack himself. Therefore, this is an active reason. All right, active reason. Jack wants to go to visit his friend, not something else. All right, he wants to go there because there's nothing else for him to do. Well, he could also just lie on his bed and be bored, but he chose to visit his friend. So that's still a choice he made, an active choice he made. Does that make sense so far? Does everything make sense so far? Good? All right. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. All right, so some common motives. Let's take an example. Teacher Hetty is sulking. Do you know what sulking is? Look on the picture. Sulking is being all alone, all focused on herself and not being happy, not wanting to respond to anything. All right, so why do you think so? Why do you think Teacher Hetty is sulking? I'm not sulking right now, but I was sulking earlier. Why do you think? What kind of emotion is Teacher Hetty feeling? What kind of emotion is Teacher Hetty feeling if she's sulking? All right, that action of huddling onto herself, all right, this action is an action of sulking. All right. So what do you think? Why is Teacher Hetty doing this? All right. Okay, very good example. Okay, what kind of emotion do you think a character would be feeling if they're sulking? Oops. All right, very good, Evangeline. She is sad. All right, the emotion we're looking for is sad. And what can cause a character to be sad? All right, this is where motive comes into place. All right, frustrated. Yes, maybe. All right, so let's take the vaguest example, sad. All right, the vaguest category here is sad, and see, why is she sad? Why is she sad? Maybe something bad happened. Maybe something disappointing happened. Maybe something embarrassing happened. These are all examples, right? Do you think these are explanations? Are these good explanations? People made fun of her. Well, that's something very embarrassing, right? And something very bad. Do you think these explanations, these motives are good enough? Are these good enough? Yes or no? Yes or no? Good enough? Okay, if you're telling someone else that Teacher Hetty is sulking today, you say, Teacher Hetty is sulking because she is sad that something bad happened. Would that be a good explanation? Or would your friend still ask you, that's not clear enough. Very good, Muting. That's a very simple, very vague explanation, alright? So yes, it does tell your friend that Teacher Hetty is sad. But why? The why isn't explained clearly. Something bad. That's about the vaguest we can get, right? Something bad. Okay, yes, exactly. Exactly, Ariel is not clear. And exactly, Muting. What is the bad thing? Right? You don't want your readers to ask you these questions when they're reading your stories. So make sure we give them a little more details. Instead of saying something bad happened, tell your readers or show them, better, show them what exactly happened. What exactly is the bad thing? All right, for example, Teacher Eddie lost her bag today. There are a lot of important things in her phone and wallet which was all gone with the bag. All right, by the way, this really happened to me before. All right, that's a bad thing, right? And it's very specific. It's a very specific. Yes, oh dear. All right, not today, all right, before. But this really happened, and that's a bad thing. That will cause someone to be sad and go sulking on their own, right? Okay, that's an example of a bad thing. And you see your reactions. Oh dear. See, now you get why she is sad, why she's sulking. And that's the sort of detailed, exact explanation you want in your story. All right, what about there's also other examples. Maybe she fell and injured her knee today and it was really, really painful. That would also be a bad thing that happened to her, and that would also make her sad and result in her sulking. This character actually looks like the knee is hurt, right? She's cuddling her knee, huddling her knees. Okay, so maybe that's another explanation. There's also other explanations of bad things, alright? Maybe she got scolded by her boss for some reason. Okay, it's up to your imagination. There's a lot of bad things. Let's think of some embarrassing things. Alright, what could be an embarrassing situation? Okay, what could be an embarrassing situation? For example, by the way, this also really happened. All of these examples you see on screen right now happened before to Teacher Hetty, alright? So all the bad things, all the horrible things experienced. Alright, people make fun of me, yes. There could be situations like that. Alright, fall in front of someone, messed up her performance. Very, very good examples. These are all detailed explanations, alright? So much more detailed than something embarrassing happened. What? Is it too embarrassing that you don't want to tell us? No, you shouldn't. You should tell us. What is that embarrassing thing? For example, she forgot to bring her wallet to work and could not pay for her lunch. Everyone laughed at her at the canteen. Bad, 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 bad thing. Okay, very embarrassing, right? What about this one? And by the way, this happened to me last week. Last week when Teacher Eddie got a pair of new glasses. She forgot to wear her glasses and mistook a stranger for her best friend. The stranger yelled at her. The stranger yelled at me, "Hey, who are you?" Awkward. Very embarrassing, right? Show your readers. Don't just tell your readers. Something embarrassing happened to this character. Tell them what exactly happened. Show it to them. Alright, these are all good examples. Yes, she messed up her performance. Feel free to write about those as well. Okay, finally, alright, all the things I share with you guys. Something disappointing that happened to her. What could be an example? Her favorite hawker stall was closed today, and so was her second favorite. There's nothing to eat for lunch. That's very disappointing, right? Instead of saying something disappointing happened and let your readers guess, tell them exactly what is the disappointing thing. Alright, I failed my exam. Well, it's a good thing that teachers already don't have exams anymore, but very good point. I used to feel very disappointed during my school years when I failed an exam. Alright, well, when I do poor in an exam. Alright, and this one is very real. So this term's classes are ending soon, and I would really, really, really miss my students. Alright, miss all of you guys. Okay, So that's very disappointing. We have 2 more weeks of 10OP live sharing, 2 more weeks of regular classes before we enter the holiday season. All right, I think it's exciting for you guys. After the end of year exams and everything, you get a little over a month as a break. All right. So you will be enjoying your break, but Teacher Eddie will miss you guys a lot because I won't get to see you guys every week. Okay, so that's a disappointing thing to think of for her, and that could cause her to be sad and sulk. It's better to know that you guys will also miss me. All right. We do have some holiday classes if you're interested. I'm teaching one of them, but I think it's not your level. So I'll see you in the next year's regular classes, I guess. All right. So a key takeaway for today's class. All right, key takeaway for today's class. The motive for actions should be clear and logical. All right, so don't say something bad. Tell us, what is the bad thing? All right, and the bad thing shouldn't be aliens caught Teacher Hetty and did experiments on her, because that's not logical and that's not realistic. All right, that I swear never happened to me. Okay, so make sure the motives that you provide are clear and logical. Right, and make sure you describe it with the exact actions and the reasons. All right. Okay, she fell and injured her knee. Not just she fell. If she fell and did not hurt herself, she wouldn't be sad, right? She fell and injured her knee. Or she fell and spilled her freshly bought lunch. Ugh, even worse. Okay, so make sure you use exact actions and details to explain the actions and the motives. All right. One final touch, all right, and your homework after class exercise. Okay, remember the story where James punched Steve? An interesting way to describe the motive would be to let your characters tell the readers themselves. And that would be through dialogue, all right, through dialogue. So, Teacher Hetty is here to ask James, James, why did you punch Steve? All right, like a reporter. And James said, he deserved it. James says he deserved it. Okay. All right. Teacher Eddie's going to be like, all right, James. Okay. He deserves it. But why? If James simply tell you he deserves it, Steve deserves to be punched, do you know why James actually punched him? It's like saying something bad happened. But what exactly is that something bad? Yes, that is me. All right, yes, that's Teacher Hetty on screen. And that's my friend whose name was actually James. But he did not punch Steve off. He did not punch Steve. Okay, he's here to help me. All right, so he deserved it. Is that explanation enough? Is that explanation good enough? Is that explanation good enough? Muting says no. All right, everyone else, good? Good enough? If you are the reporter, if you're going to write a story about James punching Steve, and James said he deserved it, that's it. Will your readers like that story? No, right? Not clear. Okay, you guys are asking why is Teacher Eddie in this photo? Why is she the reporter? All right. Quick thing about me, I actually took journalism classes. I'm actually a journalism major in college, and this was for one of my class assignments. All right, that's one picture. Okay, so he deserved it. That's not enough. That's not enough, James. One thing reporters say a lot, over and over again. Tell us more, James. Tell us more about it. Why does Steve deserve it? Okay. All right. Why does he deserve it? Tell us more. And that's your assignment for this week. This is the story we have, all right? Steve tackled James onto the ground and pinned him down. That's enough, Steve hissed. Why did you punch me? James, blank and blank. You deserve it. Blank. All right, so it's part of his speech. Your assignment is to fill in the blanks. For the first blank, all right, for the first blank here, all right, this blank here, fill in an action. All right, an action of James. This blank here, also an action, but make sure this action tells us that James is about to speak. All right, do not, here's the thing, do not use the word said. Give me something more colorful. Give me something better, more interesting. All right, James, see, instead of saying Steve said, we use Steve hissed. So what could James sound like? All right, James yelled, James screamed, James shrieked. All of these words. Any word but said in this blank. All right, and of course, the last blank would be for you to write the dialogue. Why did Steve deserve it? What is James' reason? All right, this is your assignment. I will send this slide in the Telegram group so you can look at it again. All right, no need to take a screenshot now. Okay, so in the next lesson, from that point, we will talk about how to use speech to create and show interesting characteristics. All right, so using speech to describe our characters. We'll talk about that next week. How to write good dialogue. What is a unique characteristic that we can show? All right, any questions for today's session? Any questions? Nope? Okay, good. All right, here's the code for the Telegram group. If you're not in the group chat yet, please scan the code and join our chat. All right, if you're already in there, you may disregard this code, but do know that we are holding some holiday workshops and having trials for regular classes. So if you're interested in any of those, please go to sg.tenopy.com, all right, and sign up for the holiday workshops or trial classes. Okay. All right, if you do not have any questions, this session is over. Thank you for coming in today. All right, thank you for coming in today. If you came in late, the session will be recorded and posted online. Okay, so you may watch the recording. All right, goodbye, Hongjie. All right, feel free to leave the classroom if you do not have any questions and if you have joined the group already. Okay, goodbye. Thank you for coming in today. It's my pleasure to meet you today. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye, Rio. Bye-bye, Roshan. All right, bye-bye. Bye-bye, Caroline. Caroline. Bye-bye, Muqing. All right, bye-bye. We're closing the session. Thank you for your participation today. Have a good day ahead, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.